You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast, and we are very, very excited to be partnering up with BetMGM right here. Here's the deal. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM, use bonus code PHNX, and you will get up to $200 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code PHNX. Place a pregame moneyline wager in the amount of at least $10 on any market at standard odds price. You will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of the outcome of your wager. Just make sure you use bonus code PHNX when you sign up. And now listen to Shane Diefenbach on the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
All right, now that we got the Bills out of the way right there, let's talk now with Jason Scheer of Wildcat Authority. I am Mike Luke of PHNX Wildcats. All right, Jason, Ryan Nembhard has entered the portal. We had a lot of people on.
Not yet.
What? All right, that's true. That is true.
I'm just kidding.
I know. But as we've been talking about for quite a while here, there are names in the portal that were not in the portal, and a lot of people were saying, oh, when's this going to happen? When's this going to happen? That's my best mocking voice right there. Well, the first domino is dropped. Ryan Nembhard is in the portal right there, and this is the epitome of a difference maker for whatever team would be able to acquire him, Jason.
Yeah, he automatically is a top 5 player in the portal. I mean, no question asked. Top point guard, I believe. He's a guy where if you're looking for a one more piece to the puzzle and it happens to be at point guard, you're all in. I mean, he is a very good player, leader. You know a guy is good when the first reaction is, why would he ever leave? Or why did Creighton let him get away and all that? He's that guy.
To quote, the great Nipsey Hussle, this is an all money in situation right here. You want to go, this guy is absolutely, he'd be a perfect fit. Now, I get a lot of people on online that were saying, well, he's a little bit smaller. I don't care about that at the college level. This isn't the NBA. Think back, how many times have you seen a guy who's, let's say, a 6-foot shooting guard, a 6'1" shooting guard, being back down in the low post? It doesn't happen in college. So I don't really care at all about the height right there. I care about he and Kylan Boswell and how they fit together. And I think from a skill, from a scoring perspective, I think they fit in perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, height doesn't bother me because as long as you are putting the right guys around him. So yes, that it is a smaller backcourt, but you know, if I'm putting a bunch of 6-footers, athletic wings, whatever, 6'8" guys, athletic wings, whatever it may be, you make up for it. And the thing with Nembhard is he's active on defense. He's not an elite defender, but he's not bad at all. And he's active on defense. And look, at the end of the day, like this is where college basketball is going. A lot of teams are running 2-point guard systems. Like Gonzaga, when they were at their best offensively, they were running a 2-point guard system. This isn't new to anyone. This isn't new to Tommy Lloyd. So if he wants Ryan Nembhard and believes that he can put him next to Kylan Boswell, who has the potential to be an elite defender, that's something you do any day of the week.
Kylan Boswell, by the way, I saw Kylan Boswell out having a good evening last evening in my neck of the woods right here. Kylan, all right. Either way, we need you, Kylan. We need you to be an all-conference player right there. So, but I'll leave it at that. I look at both of these guys, though, and I think to myself immediately, with Kylan Boswell, with Ryan Nembhard, these are both guys with real all-conference potential, not fake all-conference potential where you're going to get an honorable mention. If both of these guys were on that first team next year, granted, there's 10 players in it, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And honestly, and again, it's hard to project stats, but I look at Kylan Boswell. He's playing 30 minutes a game. I think he's probably good for 14 and 5, something like that. And honestly, I think Ryan Nembhard's much the same right there, Sheer.
Yeah, I do too. And the thing is, I would be. You said you wouldn't be surprised if they were all conference. I would be surprised if they weren't. Like, right. I think Ryan Nembhard is a lock to be all Pac-12, and that's one of the reasons maybe he made that transfer. Is look, the Big East had good guards, and he was one of the better ones, and he still wasn't getting the exposure and the attention. Meanwhile, you're in the Pac-12. He's going to be going against guards that he's better than for the most part. I mean, I put Ryan Nembhard as one of the best guards in the conference right away. And in that offensive system, I mean, he should lead the conference in assists. He absolutely should.
Let me ask you this. Off the top of your head, without everybody in front of you, is there a guard in the conference that is clearly better than Ryan Nembhard?
No. I mean, no, because even like Collier's going to be really good for USC, but we don't know. He's a freshman. He hasn't played yet, so I don't know if we can put him there. I think he's going to be good, but you can't put him there yet.
He's better than KJ Simpson. He's better than Frankie Collins. All of those guys right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and Arizona, to answer T Burns 826, Arizona is not done yet. No more hints, but Arizona's not done yet. I don't think I'm breaking any news right there. So you got the backcourt in place right there. Now it becomes fascinating too, because you needed difference makers, and we got to give the Tommy gun a lot of credit here, because I posted on your board before this offseason. I said, with all due respect, I think Arizona can do better, better at the point guard spot than Kerr. And I know that Tommy Lloyd really liked Kerr, but obviously they're moving on right there. You bring in, that was not an easy decision, I would assume, to make. But now you've got Ryan Nembhard in, who, again, with all due respect to Kerr, Ryan Nembhard is a massive upgrade at that backcourt position right there. Now you start looking at that small forward spot. We're going to get to Tubelis. A lot of people asking about Tubelis, but we're going to get to but with the small forward spot, you got a little bit of wiggle room right here. I personally am of the opinion that if you get 2 more years of Pelle Larsson, you talk with Pelle Larsson, you see what he wants to do, but I am more than okay bringing him off the bench. Either way, though, you got to get another difference maker on the perimeter outside of a guy like a KJ Lewis, guys like that who are going to be new to the game. You got to get another difference maker. One more difference maker. That's what I ask for.
Yeah, and he's got to be athletic and able to defend. Because, again, if you're going to go with that smaller backcourt, you have to get that wing that can guard opposing wings. And to me, that's up there with any priority. Now, it's difficult to get an elite guard in the portal, but I think or an elite wing, but there's so many guys entering the portal. There's going to be more next week that you should be able to go out and land a guy and sell him on the fact that that you have playing time. And even if you start Pelle, you still need a wing coming off the bench either way. So either way, Arizona needs some type of athlete that they could be able and put into certain situations, and they have plenty of minutes to offer.
All right. I've had a bunch of people ask me this, and I was going to wait till the live stream, asking me, do you believe that Kerr Kriisa is getting $500,000? No, I do not believe he's getting $500,000. I do believe he's getting paid. Happy for the kid, but I don't believe he's getting anything even near that. I spoke with somebody who assured me of that, who would know right there. But either way, real quick, what do you think about the Kerr Kriisa West Virginia connection right there?
I think it's a horrible fit. And it's not a knock on Kerr. I think Kerr could have gone to other places and like BYU. I think he would have been better at Nebraska. It's just Bobby Huggins likes to press, right? And it's Huggins in pressing, it's not going to work for Kerr Kriisa. He's not the type of player. And look, Kriisa reminds me a lot of Eric Stevenson, and Eric Stevenson and Huggins crashed heads
immediately.
The entire season. I mean, Huggins said something like he would kick Stevenson out of the program if he got one more tech. So it's going to be really, really interesting, and Kerr's going to have to play well because Huggins won't care. Huggins will bench him. That's just how he is.
All right, we got some fun announcements here. First of all, Fubo TV right here. You can sign up through the links in the description, www.fubotv.com/PHNX. For people still looking to cable cut, you will be able to find your favorite Arizona sports and shows on Fubo TV. 140 live channels, sports, shows, movies, you name it. You can watch the Wildcats on Bally Sports with Fubo TV, or whatever team you're looking for Arizona right there. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first order. And the question that everybody has been asking here and more people want to know, Jason Scheer, we confirmed last time that you have been to Circle K. Is this correct?
I have been, yes. This is
okay. True. Now, Circle K. The best thing I can say about Circle K, amongst the many things that I can say, is that Circle K is for the people, by the people. Again, Scheer, you and I debated this many, many times. The toughest and you did come around that the toughest intersection in Tucson is at Oracle and Grant, correct?
Yes.
All right. But you know what's prominent there?
Circle K is in the streets, baby.
Circle K is not only in the streets, Circle K is in the foothills. You can go to where Jacob Franklin is probably hanging out in some ritzy Scottsdale area. And guess what you're going to find there as well? Circle K's. That's what you need right there. And plus, they have great deals as well. Jason, have your kids ever been to Circle K? That's a great question.
They have, numerous times.
What do they get there? Polar Pops? Do they like Polar Pops?
Do they have Polar Pops? I miss those things.
Oh, they do have Polar Pops. We're enlightening the group right here. Make sure you're not missing out on all this great stuff. Head to circlek.com/store locator, circlek.com/store locator to find a Circle K near you. You might even see the great Jacob Franklin in there, who will be making his show debut here later on. Okay. Now let's talk about the big men up front. Azuolas Tubelis. Obviously, you got Umar Ballo coming back, right? Zoo, to me, is a situation where the longer he doesn't declare, the more money you can maybe start getting. I did notice that they were selling, or they're trying to push Azuolas Tubelis T-shirts out there as well from the U of A. What say you?
I think he's still – I would say this. If he doesn't declare – it is a major, major deal, and it's a surprise. I think he declares. I think he's probably gone, but you never know. You know, if he goes through those NBA workouts and he doesn't perform well, he could come back. The Arizona's of the belief there's a possibility. Now, they're not sitting around. I will say that. There are other guys that they're in touch with. No, I can't name them yet. But there's people around Zoo that want him to come back, and there's people around Zoo that want him to go pro, whatever that looks like. So it's an interesting situation for sure.
Here's what I believe about Tubelis, too, is that I believe that Tubelis can actually gain quite a bit by coming back for another year. First is that I don't believe right now he's a great NBA prospect, and I do believe that when he does go through the testing, playing against other players, it's probably not going to be great. But if he were to come back, he can get more of a perimeter shot right there. He can work a little bit more on his weaknesses, and he can make a lot of money because NIL was set up for people like Azuolas Tubelis, Jason Scheer.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna. The Arizona's making him a package that is very attractive to get him to stay, and so he wouldn't be doing it for free. I think the number one thing that if you're in his spot, what you want to do is, I don't think he's going to become an elite defender overnight, but show some aggression there, so a little bit of improvement there. And really develop a three-point shot. I think a three-point shot would go a long way towards his NBA prospects. I don't know how much he's going to improve as an NBA guy, but it wouldn't hurt his stock at all if he came back.
Patrick Merlihan makes a great point. Patrick, a big fan of downvoting my posts on Wildcat Authority. But you know what, Patrick? I deserve probably all of those. Controversial opinion. I don't get the Tubelis hype. Would prefer him as a 2 to 3 option and don't really buy the defensive upside. Totally agree with you on that. Zoo to me is a number 2 option at this point. You're hoping if you're Arizona that he, maybe Nembhard can make that move, Boswell can make that move, or maybe there's somebody else in there. But I think we know at this stage that yes, Azuolas can get you 20-9 for sure, and he's a very, very good college player. But he's also not the guy that I'm giving the ball to at the end of the game, nor do I think he is the guy that wants the ball at the end of the game. And you know what? That is okay.
It's tough. I mean, how do you say a guy that averaged 20 and 10 isn't a number 1 option on a team? Offensively, why not? I mean, but I get what you're saying. If we're saying who we would want to have the ball in the last possession, it would be a Boswell or an Nembhard type, right?
Yeah.
And so in that case, I guess he's not option number 1. But I do agree. I don't. There's not a lot of defensive upside. He's not going to become a great or even good defender. You want him to be an average defender. That's probably his upside, which sounds bad, but really, if Zoo was an average defender, or even good at times, his stock would be even higher.
And that's another reason too that I think it's going to be hard for him in the NBA. And again, as Steve Rivera always likes to say, I would love to have that person's future. So we're not dissing on Zoo right here. I would love to have Zoo's future. Zoo would probably not like to have my future. So take that for what it's worth right there. But if you are what Muehlbach always says this, you are what you can defend in the NBA. And that to me, I just don't know who he's defending right there. But if you can get him back and P. Merlihan, but if you can get him back as a 2 option, though, I mean, granted, with the 20 and 9, you take that every single day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arizona's not going to. If Zoo says I want to come back, Arizona's not saying no.
They're not saying get lost. We got.
There isn't a team in the country be like, you know what, we don't want Zoo. I'm actually surprised. Our buddy John Brogan brought this up. I'm actually surprised that we're not hearing about like other schools trying to make offers for Zoo, because that's happening all over the country.
Every now and then every now and then Brogan makes a really good point, and that is one of the points that he made, because I hadn't even thought about that. Like, because if you're another school, Zoo is, with all due respect to Kerr, Zoo is the one that commands the 6-figure deals. The one that can come in and sure, maybe he's not your best player, but if he's your number 2 player, you know that he's going to be able to get you 18 and 9, 18 and 10 in pretty much every single conference. He's that skilled. What's interesting about Zoo, stop the presses. Did you know that he could have 2 years left if he wanted to have those?
And Kerr has 2 years left too, right?
Kerr does have 2 years left.
Here's what we need, Mike. Okay. I don't know if you've thought about this, but we need Arizona in the Big 12. We need Kerr to stay 2 years, and we need Arizona versus West Virginia. Kerr, Kyle, and Boswell.
Ooh, we are going to talk about Big 12 news and some very bad reporting that has been going on that is finally being exposed right here. And we're going to call this TLN. You're great, but I'm not going to say the name. Nembhard has 2 years of eligibility left, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Cord Lopez. Why is everyone so mad at Tommy for tampering? Blue Jay fans are spiraling. They're spiraling because they didn't see this happening. There was no tampering. He's just looking for a better spot.
Yeah, there's no tampering.
Right.
I always like fans. It's like, look, guys are going to leave school for certain. Like Devin Cambridge is the perfect example. Announced that he was staying at ASU 2 weeks ago, and magically he entered the portal. Nothing changed. They didn't recruit over him. Someone is clearly going to pay him, right? Creighton didn't land Arthur Kaluma for free, right? They gave him an NIL. And this is just the day and the age that we're in. Miami basketball, this team this past year, was bought. If you don't have an NIL, you're not fielding a competitive team. And people that are complaining about NIL are you're behind the times at this point.
Yeah. Would you take – I went back and forth on this. I would take the crummy Cambridge as long as he was okay with being a 7th or an 8th guy. I'm all about filling out the 7th or the 8th man between whether that's that or Jamal Baker.
I would take Devin Cambridge over Jamal Baker any day of the week. How about that?
You're a big Jamal Baker fan. You're the one pushing him to come back to Arizona.
What do you think Jamal Baker wants in his school? He's played at Kentucky. He had no role. He played at Arizona. He had somewhat of a role and won a little bit. He played at Fresno, could put up any shot that he wanted, but didn't win. What does he want now?
A PhD?
Like, does he want 30 minutes on a bad team? or does he want 15 on a good? I'm really curious to see.
Would you be all right with him, just in theory, though, if he's a guy that's your 8th guy that, you know what, depending on if he's playing well, he could get you 18 minutes, and if he's sucking, then you get him 4?
The problem is he's never healthy for a full year. So if you land him and he's hurt, you're done. You're out of guard.
And then he gets another year of eligibility as well.
Right.
All right. We're talking about bad defensive players in the front court. We got to talk about Henry Vesar. Now that's not a diss towards Henry. Henry is the guy that I believe could make that step. I believe Arizona needs Henry Vesar, and everybody knows I am a big fan of the other peak. Dylan Anderson, there is no bigger fan of me. As a matter of fact, we shot down some false reporting about Dylan Anderson leaving. Dylan, we got your back right here. But Henry Vesar, on a serious note, that's the dude that can get you a couple block shots. That's the guy that can alter shots. I'd really, really, really like him to be able to take a little bit of a jump this year, Sheer.
Yeah, he's the guy to me besides Boswell, but he's the guy to me that needs to take the biggest jump. If Henry becomes a more than serviceable player, all of a sudden your front court is awesome because he gives you a much different look than Umar also. You can't play them together, but he gives you a much different look. He's a shot blocker. He could step out and shoot. The spacing with Henry in there would be fantastic. When you have Boswell and Nembhard, that's the guy to me that has to take a jump. Dylan, maybe it takes a little bit longer, which is fine. You know, Umar what Umar is going to give you. Henry's the guy where he could be the same guy as last year and give you nothing, or he could be what everyone thought he was going to be and all of a sudden be one of the better bigs in the conference.
And that's why I'm a little bit worried. Oh, yeah, by the way, Jacob Franklin, can you pull that roster up for next year? We have a misprint on Pelle Larsson right here, but you know what? It doesn't matter because we can talk about Pelle Larsson. Here's who you got coming back. Now, some people might say, Mike, Pelle Larsson's not 5'8", 160. You'd be correct. He is not. But the point is still made. You got Kylan Boswell. You got Umar Ballo. Those guys are both going to play 28 minutes. That fair? Boswell will play more than Ballo, but probably somewhere in there, correct?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Henry, I would like to be able to make that move to where he can get somewhere consistently in that 18-minute realm right there. Because if he's consistently playing 18 minutes, that leads me to believe that he has made that jump. With Dylan, again, love Dylan Anderson. I would like Dylan Anderson to redshirt. He probably won't redshirt, but one of those two guys has to be able to do something. And this isn't a diss towards Philly B, but I have no expectations for Philly B. Not that I don't think he can do anything. I have no clue what to expect. KJ Lewis, to me, is the wild card in this situation.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, and again, it's not an insult towards Philly B. I don't know what to expect either. He could be non-existent again, or he could take a big step. You know, they recruited him for a reason. KJ Lewis is the wild card to me. I would be surprised if he's really
underrated by the recruiting services, aka you.
It's a weird situation because offensively he's not very good, and I know people see highlights and all that, but he's not very good. He has a almost like a football player build, but like Colin Boswell, when you watch him and you look at his build and his body, it's not great, but he's still obviously really good. The thing with Lewis is he's going to come in and defend and rebound right away. There's no doubt about that. So how many minutes can he get off those two skills? If he's better than we think offensively, he's playing a good amount of minutes right away. If not, we'll see how many minutes he gets. But obviously the coaches like him quite a bit.
Have I told you about my nickname for the U of A big men last year, the Four Peaks?
Please do, Mike. I can't hear it enough.
All right. So a lot of people assume Four Peaks is the official brew of PHNX Sports. They are correct. It's a fantastic brew. But the U of A big men last year were also the Four Peaks right there. You've got Umar Ballo, Azuolas Tubelis, Dylan Anderson, Henry Vesar. But just like the Four Peaks brew, not everything occurs just at the top. Some stuff has to be done behind the scenes, and that's where Four Peaks comes into play. Now, you might say to yourself, Mike, where can I go watch something with Four Peaks? I'm glad you asked that question because I have the answer. New coach, new GM. The Cardinals have the 3rd pick in the draft. Choose Will Anderson. I'm telling you that right now. It's not a difficult decision. It's a big opportunity for our team. The best place to take in this pivotal moment and the rest of the NFL draft is April 27th at Four Peaks 8th Street Pub. Must be 21 years or up to enjoy responsibly. Four Peaks right there. Check it out. A lot of people asking about your hair, Sheer. Let me ask you this. Do you cut your hair or does Shelby cut your hair?
I cut my hair. Once in a while, I'll go to a hairstylist to style it, but I cut it.
Hairstylist. Right.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. When did the cul-de-sac start go? When did the cul-de-sac start emerging in the back of your head? How old were you?
When I started covering Arizona athletics. That's true, by the way.
So when you were about 19 or 20?
No. 24, 25, I think.
Right. No. All right. Fair enough. I got you. All right. Now, Tiger Campbell to ASU. I do not see that happening, but Stat Freak, my guy. I do believe, talking with some people, this is totally off. I believe if Tiger Campbell is back in college, that Tiger Campbell will make north of $500,000. We were talking about $500,000. Tiger Campbell is going to get paid a massive amount of money wherever he goes here.
I've heard the number thrown at me, and again, it's a lot of times these numbers are inflated, but it was about 750.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure he's going to enter the portal. He's not coming back to UCLA. That I know. I'd be very, very surprised if he does. I would expect some transfers there, but it's either going to be just go pro or go to another school like a Kentucky or something and make a ton of money.
He's the epitome of a guy, too, and I know fans don't like him necessarily. I totally get it. But he's the epitome of a guy, too, that you don't really understand. I mean, you can't just look at his box score and see his impact. The guy's a winner. He controls the game. Guys relate to him. Also, we're going to make fun of the Big Ten here in a second. Stat Freak, you know how to get me excited. We're going to make fun of the Big Ten here shortly. But speaking of people that need to be made fun of, let's talk a little conference realignment right here. So now, just so you know, the latest news is this, that now John Canzano, who has been reporting a lot of nonsense for well over a year, has now said that after saying everything is basically right around the corner, now he's saying, you know what? Maybe some of these people were a little bit too optimistic about the time frame. No, John, that was you being optimistic about the time frame, running with bad sources right there. This thing is a total mess right now, and this new TV partner that has come into play right here shows the kind of joke that is going on right now, Sheer.
Yeah, CW, I mean, look, there is exposure. Everyone has CW, but that's because they have like local stations that they sell out to. So it's basically like you're putting on Channel 8 in Tucson, and there happens to be, you know, football on there. Live, the ratings there aren't great. The timeline hasn't changed. It just wasn't accurate by Canzano. It was never getting done in August. It was never getting done in October. Like, if the argument now is that these things take time because of Apple and Amazon, then that should have been seen in the beginning. And look, I'm going to tell you now that the deal's not going to be done in April either. And so, you know, and the Pac-12 reached out and go, look, it's not getting done anytime soon. We screwed up there.
I have a very good source on this one who told me at the time when Canzano was saying an August 4th, 2022 TV deal, who actually called me and said, you know, he said, that is the biggest load of nonsense I have ever seen. And then he said, and no, nobody from Arizona is talking with him. So when he keeps talking about how he's talked with everybody from corner four sources, no, you're not. And that's why you've been wrong on so much stuff. It is mind-boggling to me that we are in the year 2023 and people are still following this. Now, I will say this. I am a little bit disappointed in John Wilner and all this. I hold John Wilner. I know that he likes trolling Arizona fans. Totally get it. But I still hold him into a higher degree, Sheer. We've talked about this before than Canzano. I don't believe that he's making things up, but I do believe, though, that at some point when you keep a month and a half ago, he said, every week that there's no TV deal, I'm going to bring my point spread down for what conference is going to stay in by 0.5. Well, after 3 weeks, he said, yeah, I'm just not going to do that anymore. I mean, come on, dude. What are we doing here?
I'm not doing that because I have good reason not to do that, and it's because the conference told me it's going to take longer. That's basically what he said. And,
right.
You know, the thing is, if you're going to say something, you're going to do it, then do it. That's it. You said every week the point spread would lower, and it's not. So don't say it in the first place. And I think that's what a lot of these guys are having trouble with is if you don't mean something, if you're not sourcing it. Like I had a guy in the national media that I talked to. You probably know who it is, but I'm not going to out his name. that is very tuned in with realignment. And he said, if I was ever misled by someone or lied to with this stuff, they're dead to me. I wouldn't go to them at all. So Canzano and Wilner were clearly misled or lied to by whoever their sources with the timing. So are they going to go back to them for more information that's going to be inaccurate?
But aren't you almost looking to be willfully naive right here? If you're just getting Oregon State and Washington State, who have absolutely nowhere to go if the Pac-12 was to fold, of course they're going to tell you, yeah, everything looks great, everything looks good. Of course that's going to be the case right there, Sheer.
What's funny is I think it was the Athletic article. I don't know if it straight up said it or insinuated that there's 2 school presidents that want the deal signed immediately. Gee, who could that be?
Right.
Of course, Washington State and Oregon State want this deal done. Their whole future depends on it. Like, those are the schools, they don't have a next stop. If the Pac-12 fails to exist, they're done. They're in the Mountain West. So, of course, they want a deal signed. So, when you're talking to them, what's the point?
All right. Now, again, the great Jacob Franklin will be hopping in here in a few minutes, but I will say this. I hope Jacob doesn't get mad at this, but if only 2 schools were to go to the Big 12, I hope it's Arizona and Colorado, and that ASU can stay back in the Mountain West.
Yeah, that would be funny.
That would be fantastic, and it would be very deserved of our good friends at ASU. Well, not our good friends, our good friend Jacob Franklin at ASU right here. Canzano likes nickel. Some of these comments are fantastic right here. All right, now we got to talk a little bit of Arizona football as well. Oh, first, let's talk a little bit of Arizona women's basketball here first. Listen, I'm still in on Adia because I've seen Arizona basketball for the entirety of my career, Arizona women's basketball, and it's obviously better right now. But there are starting to have some real concerns. When you lose 7 out of 8 players and some of these are really highly ranked players, you start wondering a little bit what exactly is going on there, Sheer.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation because there's no continuity at all. And she fired 2 assistant coaches. She's looking for a new video guy as well.
Have you applied?
Well, yeah, clearly. But it's interesting. Like Paris Clark, while we have been on this, announced that she's going to Virginia. Virginia was 15-15 last season, so playing time was clearly an issue. Otherwise, and I know it's closer to home, but there's plenty of places closer to home that made the tournament. She's good. Right. So there maybe it's different issues for different girls, but I think the problem is that she recruited a lot of young players and then she didn't go with the youth movement. I think that changes this year. Like, she's going to play Jada Williams. She's going to play Brea Cunningham. If not, the same thing is going to happen. And eventually you have to play I think she's gotten carried away a little bit with the transfer portal. She needs to kind of keep her girls at home and go from there.
And see, I'm fine with the playing women from the transfer portal if they're good. Like an Esmery Martinez, player, she's good. But when you're looking at it, and Lauren Fields is getting these minutes over a Kaylin Gilbert or a Paris Clark, well, yeah, because Lauren Fields isn't the greatest player in the world. These girls have eyes. That's probably not what they were signing up for.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, like Kaylin Gilbert's going to go closer to home and probably go to Miami and be awesome.
Right.
But you got to let her learn a little bit. You got to play her a little bit. Like you have to, and it's different. Like in men's even it's the equivalent of Kylan Boswell not playing because you went out and you got Courtney Ramey and you're just like we're playing Ramey all the time. Boswell, you're not playing. Boswell would transfer too. You had to play him, and so I think if you're bringing in these 5 stars, like Adia has to start to me. Jada Williams and Brea Cunningham. You have
day
to
one.
Start.
Yes.
Day one, and if they suck, figure it out later on. But you better play them in order to figure that out.
All right. One thing that you don't have to figure out, though, is illegal Pete's. Now, you might be like the kids and you're hanging out illegal Pete's, or you could be an old timer like me. Either way, illegal Pete's is there for you. You can go down there you can go to the Tempe location, Or if you're a cool person and you live in Tucson, you can go to the university location right there. Illegal Pete's delicious ingredients and customizable options are the perfect way to treat your guests to a culinary adventure they'll never forget. To book your catering order, head to catering.illegalpete's.com. Plus, be on the lookout for the PHNX Sun Devils crew. They're going to be doing their live show at Illegal Pete's Tempe location at April 15th. I like the guys at PHNX. They're Sun Devils. They're fantastic people. I don't like the team they have to cover, but they are great people. I can tell you that, as is the great Jacob Franklin. Okay, now let's talk some Arizona football here. This is a bowl team. I'm going to keep saying it. Vegas is behind on the University of Arizona. I know the lines aren't officially out yet. Get all of that stuff. This is not a 4.5 win team. Just like Vegas was wrong last year, they're still a little bit behind the curve. Here's what's going to happen. Arizona's going to win 7 games this year. Then Vegas will catch up to the Wildcats. But whenever the BetMGM lines do come out, get on to BetMGM and bet the over because it's going to be over.
Yeah, if it's 4.5, I would jump all over that. I mean, to me, that's too low. What was it last year? It was too low last year.
It started at 2.5 and then it moved to 3. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and I don't want to brag, but we're at every practice and you get a closer look of what this team is. And we knew right away last year it wasn't a 2-win team. And This isn't a 4-win team. It's just not. It is a better football team than last year. And I'll be honest, if it is a 4-win team, it's probably Jed's first disappointing season here.
Yes. Now let's talk about some of these guys. We already know about T-Mac. He is awesome. Our good buddy Justin Spears was late to the fold on T-Mac. I'm just kidding, by the way. We basically harassed Justin all year into something he didn't say up in the press box about T-Mac. He is a T-Mac supporter. But between T-Mac, Jacob Cowing, there's a couple different pass catchers, though, that are going to be very fascinating. Everybody knows I love Kevin Green. Very interested in Malachi Riley. That looks like he should have been a 4-star kid. And I think he and Burnett's about to arrive on the big stage right there. Between those two guys, if Jaden DeLaura isn't one of the 3 or 4 best QBs in the conference, that's not because he doesn't have the weapons here.
Yeah, I mean, Burnett is the one that really stands out right away. Much bigger, stronger, and much more involved in the spring than he was last spring. A lot more comfortable. Tanner McLaughlin, those 2 guys at tight end are going to be major weapons. Kevin Green has had a great spring. Riley's looked good. There's been other guys that have popped a little bit. Holman, A.J. Jones. And I don't know how much of a rotation there's going to be because they're not going to keep T-Mac and Cowing off the field at all. But this offense is super talented. Running back, tons of talent. They're putting them in the passing game more. Like you mentioned, if Jaden DeLaura struggles this season, it's not for a lack of weapons.
All right, now we got to talk about Noah Fafita because this, to me, might be the epitome of the Nick. I almost said Nick Scott, the Nick Foles situation right here, where because you and I were talking about it with Spears, where you're like, man, hasn't really shown a ton in camp. Literally, the next play, he heaves an almost touchdown pass, 60 yards, a beautiful pass. Then he throws a touchdown right after that one as well. Looked great throughout. There's something about that kid when the lights come on that. I know he's 5'7". I get all that, but I'm not writing him off at all as a future long-term successful starter at the U of A.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to get a true look at it this year, barring injury. At least I hope we don't get a true look at it.
Right.
And but next year he's the dude. I mean, and I like Braden Dorman. I think that's going to be a legit competition. But Noah is a guy where you look at him and you go, yeah, he's a little small but he can.
He's a lot small.
Yeah, he can. Well, he grew the hair out though, so
he's 5'8" now.
Yeah, but he controls the game really well. I think that's the thing, and I'm not saying he's just a game manager, but he has a very mature feel for the game, and he had that as soon as he stepped on campus. I can't recall a freshman quarterback that has come on campus here and knew the offense and commanded the offense as well as he did.
All right, Rich Carrillo, great question here right now, because a lot of times in this day and age, we get ahead of ourselves right here. The running backs are loaded. Between Michael Wiley, who hasn't played a ton, we know what Michael Wiley can do. Jonah Coleman looks like he's taken that next step. DJ Williams, we've seen when he's in, he's talented. You got Brandon Johnson. You got Fam Speedy Luke back there as well. There really aren't many holes to this offense here.
Yeah, the running backs are fine. I mean, and you could just tell because Wiley and DJ Williams aren't practicing right now with minor injuries. And it's there's not that much drop off. I mean, Jonah Coleman has looked good. He's the number one back in the conference, and he'll be number 2 or 3 on Arizona. Brandon Johnson looks good for a 17-year-old freshman.
Is he 17 still?
He is. He's 17. So, I mean, they have talent at the running back position. That's one of those positions like wide receiver. The reason we don't talk about it is because we don't worry about it.
All right. But the position we do worry about is on defense, though. I will say, I think the secondary is going to be significantly improved. I still have a lot of questions about the pass rush and where that's exactly going to come from outside of Deuce Davis. But the secondary, I think Price Hawk is ready. I think Price Hawk's ready to go. Our guy, Charles Yates Jr., ready to go as well. Dwayne Aquina back there as well. You also got a new full-time defensive backs coach. There's a lot to like about this secondary right now, Sheer.
Yeah, Price Hawk is an NFL guy. I mean, he looks the part. He plays the part. He is going to be very, very good. Charles Yates, very athletic, hits. I mean, he's very physical. They need that. There's talent. There's just talent in the secondary. Even Isaiah Taylor has been fantastic. Gunnar Maldonado looks improved. John Richardson, I love watching him coach. Right. Dwayne Aquina,
your guy, Dwayne Aquina, your guy.
Yeah, tons of knowledge. Like when he talks, people listen. The secondary, they might have some youth issues and some growing pains, but in terms of pure physical ability and talent, I feel a lot better this year than I did last year.
All right. Now, before we bring great Jacob Franklin on to talk some Arizona ASU, we're going to convert him here to be an Arizona fan. But Bill Norton, the largest man in the entire conference right here. I get asked all the time, what do you expect out of Bill Norton? I have no clue what to expect. I don't expect a ton of stats, but this man is massive. It's impossible to tell somebody until they see him up close. Like Big Jonas Savanea is huge. But he is more still, it's crazy to say this about somebody that's like 325. He's still more lean muscle. Bill Norton looks like he's 450 pounds, but not like a tub of 450 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, he's huge. And like you said, he's not going to pile up stats. That's not his job. But all of a sudden, Arizona has 300-pound guys in the interior with Norton and Manoa. And they're not going to get 10 sacks, 40 tackles. That's not their role. But they're huge, and they move well. I think that's the thing that surprises me with Norton. I think he came in a little out of shape. He's not out of shape anymore. He moves very well for a guy his size. And so it makes a considerable difference when you have a guy on the inside that's 300 pounds that can really kind of plug it up there.
Okay, now, before we bring in Jacob Franklin, I got to tell you about Tap and Bottle. Now, you might say to yourself, Mike, what can Tap and Bottle do for me? It's not what they can do for you. It's what you can do for them. Scott and Rebecca are amazing people, and they have a product that you are going to like. Check out the downtown location or the northwest side. You can get Four Peaks there as well. Great food trucks, great environment. You can watch the game right there. Heck, you might even see me from time to time right there. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, so you might have to look around a little bit. But there are many times, though, that you can find me. Again, check it out, though. Tap and Bottle. Love Scott and Rebecca. Seriously, two of my favorite people in the world. Support local right there. Now, we're going to put a face to a program and show you that not all Arizona State fans are terrible people right here. Jacob Franklin is coming on to the live stream right now. Hello, Jacob Franklin.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
All right. So, first of all, Jacob Franklin, all 6'8" of him, he does everything for me that I can't do, which is basically everything right there. So, first of all, on that note, Jacob, have you thought about becoming an Arizona Wildcat fan in some way, shape, or form?
I mean, I support you in regards to it helps the network, but for the most part, I feel like I just can't do it.
All right. Now, I'm going to give you some options right here. Let's say you're thinking to yourself, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm tired of rooting for a team in the play-in game. I want to root for somebody that's good in basketball. I get you don't want to root for football. I get all of that. How about Arizona basketball, though, Jacob? Come on. You're a smart guy. You're a good guy. Why not give it a shot?
Because I don't want to lose to a 15 seed in the first round.
But at least you're playing the 15 seed in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, a loss is a loss, though, Mike.
No, that's true. That's true. Now, one guy just said, has Jacob been to Circle K before? I assume you've been to Circle K before.
I have indeed. I actually was at Circle K this morning getting
What'd
gas.
you get?
Just gas.
All right. Now, is there any team that we could get you to root for at the U of A? Like any team where you're like, all right, I'm not totally against this. Softball.
So I'll hit you with this. My brother-in-law, he's an assistant coach for Upstate College in South Carolina for volleyball, and if he were to somehow, some way end up coaching at the University of Arizona for volleyball, I would be so inclined to maybe root for that program.
You would back the A?
For him, yeah, for sure.
Ooh, all right. So we need to get, what is his name? We need to get this out there now so we can get him to the U of A.
His name is Justin Sanders.
Justin Sanders. All right. We're going to get a movement going to get him to the University of Arizona so that Jacob Franklin can root for volleyball right there.
He's got a great background. He was a manager of the team under Craig Skinner at the University of Kentucky, program that went on to win a national title and made multiple Elite 8 and Sweet 16. So he's got quite the knowledge background.
All right. How old is he?
He's 26, 27.
So you're getting him as he's heading into his physical prime right there, his teaching prime.
Yes.
All right, we need to make this one happen. Justin Sanders, I'm going to start doing background research on this one right here. By the way, everybody out there, Jacob Franklin, all 6'8". Jacob Franklin, there's many times where I'm like, man, ASU could use a big man, not just Duke Brennan out there. Were you any good at basketball, Jacob?
Ooh, no, you don't want to see me play basketball. That was miserable.
All right. But could you dunk?
Could I dunk?
Yes.
The ball kept flying out of my hands. I have big enough hands to palm the ball, but I would forget to hold on to it as I went up. So that tells you the scope of my basketball abilities.
I bet you were a shot blocker, though.
Rebounding and shot blocking, sure. Yeah, great.
You did the dirty work.
Yeah, I was good with that.
All right. I just wanted to bring Jacob on because everybody hears me talk about Jacob Franklin. I wanted to assure you that Jacob Franklin does exist. And on a serious note, the best in the business. Jacob, really appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mike.
All right. We're going to sign off right here. Again, Jacob got off as quickly as he could right there. But all right, Sheer, where can they find you, buddy?
WildcatAuthority.com. We're going to be running a sale next week. And then at Jason Shear on Twitter.
All right. I am Mike Luke. I believe, let's see here. I'll tell Jacob this offline. But yes, Jacob, he is going to be more of a regular contributor on here. He's going to be in by popular demand. TLN, we're going to keep you posted on that one, but just know that there are some other options. For Jason Shear, I'm Mike Luke. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.